friends, Elizabeth here from Plant-Based Bride, back again with another video, and today I'm excited to share with you my July plan with me in my new bullet journal. This is my first monthly setup in my brand new notebook, and I'm very excited about it. But before we get started on the planning, I want to talk to you about today's video sponsor, Function of Beauty. Every single person's hair is unique, and we all deserve custom hair care that is suited for our particular needs. And that's why I love Function of Beauty so much. I'm someone with naturally very thin and fine hair that's prone to breakage, so it's really important to me to use hair care that supports my hair's health and growth, especially because I like to keep it very long and I like to dye it regularly. Usually the summer is the best season for my hair because it's when it's the most humid here in Toronto, so my hair gets to soak up all the moisture from the air. But my husband and I are about to move across the country to a much drier part of Canada where it's going to be my winter issue of super dry, dehydrated hair all year long, which will be interesting. So I really need as much hydration as I can get in my hair without weighing it down because it is so incredibly fine and thin. With Function of Beauty, you can take a super quick quiz to determine your hair needs and goals. My hair profile is straight, fine, and oily. My scalp is actually pretty oily naturally. The problem is just that my hair is so long that the oils don't really manage to get to the ends. As for the goals I selected this time around, I decided to go for fixing split ends, color protection, oil control for my scalp, deep conditioning, and shine. I tend to go fragrance and dye free because I like to keep things simple, so I really love being able to have my name on the bottle and decorate them with the stickers that come in the box so they can still feel unique to me. In addition to my shampoo and conditioner, I also picked up their leave-in conditioner, and this leave-in conditioner allows me to add that last shot of hydration before I get out of the shower without weighing my hair down, which is a big plus. I've been using Function of Beauty for about a year and a half now, and I love how their products keep my hair feeling happy and healthy and shiny and hydrated. My biggest pet peeve with other shampoos and conditioners I've used is that they either just give no hydration whatsoever, despite what they say on the bottle, and leave my hair feeling drier than before I washed it, or that they weigh my hair down and make it almost look wet. Just like how one skincare routine won't work for every single person, the same hair products aren't going to work for everyone either. And I love that Function of Beauty focuses on that customization to be able to provide a unique formula for each person that can really give them their best hair yet. I also love that Function of Beauty uses clean ingredients. No parabens, no sulfates, no GMOs or toxins, and they are 100% vegan and cruelty-free. Get 20% off your first set from Function of Beauty when you click the link in my description box. Thank you so much to Function of Beauty for sponsoring this video, and now let's jump into the setup. All right, so pulling out my B5 cloth sunset notebook that I designed for my upcoming collaboration with Archer and Olive launching on June 28th. Follow me over on Instagram to see sneak peeks of the other items in the collab. And of course, as always, you can use my affiliate code PBB10 to shop and get 10% off your order. So this theme is loosely inspired by both this sunset notebook that I designed and the June Archer and Olive sub box. They just kind of happened to fit together really nicely. I was very inspired by the color palette from the June sub box, so I really wanted to use some of the colors from that color palette, as well as some of the thematic elements. The way that I'm thinking about this theme is that it is when you can spot the moon as the sun is still setting and the sky is this beautiful, warm, orangey shade, and the moon is just hanging out in that fiery sky. And there's just something so special and beautiful about that. So that's kind of where I was coming from for this theme. Starting on the first 2-page spread here, I'm going to do a quote page on the left side and my cover page on the right. For my quote page, I'm painting 2 little circles, and they're going to be mostly inverted versions of each other. So the top circle is going to be a nice pale yellow, and the bottom circle a dark rust. While those dry, I'm going to paint a giant rust circle on the cover page as well, just the exact same color as the bottom circle on the quote page to tie everything together. As always, all of the supplies I'm using in this setup will be linked in the description box down below, so check that out if you're looking for specific paint colors or other tools and supplies I use in this video. Moving back to my quote page now that these 2 circles are dry, and I'm going to work on the little moons in each circle. So in the top, I'm using that rust color to paint the moon, and this one is still a crescent moon, but it's a little bit fuller than the moon I'm going to paint in the bottom circle. In the bottom circle, I'm using the pale yellow I mixed to paint an even thinner slice of crescent moon. Having the moon in slightly different phases ties in with the quote that I'm writing here, which is, "The moon is always there, even when you can't see it." Moving over to the cover page, I'm drawing a very simple line art mountain range, giving the impression that the sun is setting behind these mountains. And in the upper right-hand corner, I'm doing an outline of 07 period to represent the 7th month of the year. And then underneath that, just a simple monoline cursive writing July. For the black elements on the cover page, I'm using my 0.7 millimeter black acrylograph from Archer and Olive. This theme is pretty minimalist in feel, both because that's kind of what I was feeling this month. It's kind of what I wanted in my bullet journal artistically, creatively, but also because this is the last video I'm filming before I move and my life is hectic and I did not want to pick a theme that was going to take me 6 days to complete. I decided to really rein it in and keep it simple. I know this is advice that I give y'all all the time when you ask about how to maintain themes when you're busy. I always say, keep it simple, do something more minimalist, pare back the complexity of the artistic element if you want to continue to include an artistic element, but I find it hard to take my own advice. So this month, I really stuck to my guns and took my own advice. Flipping to the next spread, which is going to be my calendar on the left side and a cute little tracker on the right. So I'm starting with a couple layers of colors along the bottom that are kind of invoking the abstract desert feel from the June subbox from Archer and Olive, which had an ethereal desert theme. So starting with my pale yellow and then a nice mid-tone sort of terracotta orange and then the deep rust. And I want to pull this element across both pages to really tie both of these spreads together. Once those are dry, I'm filling in the details for my calendar page. So I'm echoing that same outline of 07 period on the calendar page to tie it in with the cover page, and again to represent this being the 7th month of the year. And then I'm keeping my calendar super simple, just doing the horizontal lines and adding very simple black details with the initials for the days of the week and the dates. Moving over to the other page, which is going to be my tracker, I wanted to do a fill the tank tracker. And I've seen a couple people do trackers like this specifically for budgeting, but I kind of wanted to try using this style of tracker for trying to fill back up my tank of health and vitality. After several months of just hectic overwhelm and a lot going on, I am really hoping that when we're living in our new town and adjusting and trying to get into some sort of a rhythm again and trying to rest and recover, that I'll be able to use that time to really fill back up all of the various tanks of health, both mental and physical, that I've sort of drained over the last couple months. So the way this tracker works is that I'm creating a circle that I can fill in every day that I do whatever each habit or task is. So the 5 areas that I'm trying to keep track of or trying to commit to fill my tank is to not use my phone between 9 p.m. and 9 a.m., to do yoga, to take baths, to get 8 hours of sleep, and to take full days off work. So these are the 5 things that I'm hoping to do a lot more of in July than I have been recently to try to fill back up my tanks of physical and mental health. And just to give you an idea of how this works, I'll fill in an example on the screen digitally so you can see. Basically, I'm going to split these circular bands into 31 sections, and each day that I do one of these things, I'll fill in a section, and at the end of the month, I'll be able to see how far I got to completing the circle. Obviously, some of them I'm not aiming to complete the circle. For example, days off work, I'm not planning on taking the whole month off work, so it's very unlikely that I would fill the whole circle, but I'm hoping that this will motivate me if I notice, it's 3/4 of the way through the month and I haven't taken any days off yet, and that circle is completely empty, that I'm going to feel more motivated to actually take a day off so I can at least fill it in a little bit. And that's the same for all the other ones. I'm hoping that the motivation to either complete the full circle for some of them, like doing yoga every day or getting a full 8 hours of sleep, that will motivate me to get into some better habits, but also for some of them that I really struggle to do at all, like taking days off work, that this will motivate me to at least do it a little bit. So let me know in the comments down below if you've ever used a circular tracker like this. I think they look really cool, so I'm excited to see how it works for my purposes this month. As you can see, as I was explaining that, I started cutting the tabs for my weeklies. For anyone who hasn't seen me do this before, I like to create a tab for each weekly so that it's really easy to flip between them and my calendar page while I'm in the midst of the month. So I end up creating a tab every other page, and every other page between those, I just cut straight up, and those become the center page of my weekly spread. And you'll see what I mean when I get there, when I work on my weekly spread at the end of this video. Yoda is gracing us with her presence. The cats haven't been in my videos as much lately because they've been a little overwhelmed with the move as well and spending more time hiding in bags and boxes. So it was a nice little treat to have Yoda come visit. Now I'm going to work on painting the tabs. So as always, I'm using a little piece of washi tape to get a nice clean line. And I'm using the paper that I cut off for my tabs as a background to make sure I don't get paint on any of my other spreads. Since I have 5 tabs, I need 5 colors here, and I thought it would be fun to use the 3 main colors that I'm using throughout the setup. So the nice pale yellow, the mid-tone terracotta orange, and the deep rust, and then to create 2 new colors to fill the gaps. So I'm using that pale yellow, and then I'm mixing a new color that's sort of a yellowy, peachy shade to be the second color. Then I'm painting that orange terracotta that I've been using. Then I'm mixing a bit of a darker terracotta shade. And lastly, I'm using that nice deep rust. Once I finished painting my tabs, I flipped to the final spread of this setup, which is going to be another quote page on the left and a little art piece on the right. On the left, I'm starting by painting 3 stripes in my 3 main colors, so the yellow, the orange, and the rust. I painted the last one too close to the orange stripe, so I ended up making it thicker, and you'll see I go back over it with my white acrylograph to make it look evenly sized and spaced to the other 2 stripes. While I'm waiting for that first layer to dry before I can touch it up, I'm painting a large orange circle on the right side. Once those 3 paint stripes were dry, I went back in with my black acrylograph to write in this quote page. And I guess it's not so much a quote as a reminder or an affirmation. This again ties into my whole plan for July, which is hopefully to rest, reset, and reconnect. Moving back over to the right side, I'm painting in a crescent moon with my rust color, and then also a smaller yellow circle to represent the sun. Once those layers are completely dry, I'm using a really pale yellow acrylograph. This is actually from the June sub box to draw a simple minimalist line art style branch on top. Once all of those layers were dry, I flipped back over to my first weekly to set it up. As always, I'm using my Faux Dutch Door rolling weekly for my weekly spreads in July. I'll link the video where I explain how to use the rolling weekly, what it is, how to set it up, and a couple different options in the cards and in the description box down below, so you can check that out if you're interested in giving it a try. But it's a pretty simple weekly setup where each day of the week has its own half page vertically, and the last half page vertically is a task list that applies to the entire week. Again, check out that video on rolling weeklies if you want to hear more. And with that, we have come to the end of this setup. So I'm going to do a final flip through to look at all of the spreads together. I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I was a bit worried that I was going too simple or too minimal. I was feeling a strong tendency to add more things, and I'm glad I resisted. That's a problem I just have in general, where sometimes I get antsy and I add too many things to a spread, and then I just feel it's a little busy, or I feel like if I'd stopped 20 minutes earlier, I would have liked the spread better. So I'm glad I took a step back and let it just be what it is, be very simple, hopefully be refreshing, and just a reminder to take it easy on myself because it's been very busy and I need that little bit of a break. So that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you made it all the way to the end, leave your favorite yellow or orange or rust emoji in the comments down below. Thank you again to Function of Beauty for sponsoring this video. Click the link below to get 20% off your first purchase. Don't forget to check out the video where I set up this bullet journal for the second half of the year. That was my last video, so I'll link that in the cards and in the description box down below as well. Before I go, I want to take a moment to thank my patrons for their support. Extra special thanks to our newest patrons, Robin, Estefania, Nicole, Susie, Laura, Haley, Ashley, Kristen, Jaleesa, Prezi, Jessica, Jennifer, Courtney, and Jess. Welcome all of you to the squad. We are so excited to have you. If you want to join us and get printables of this setup and wallpapers, if you're in the $3 tier or higher, feel free. There's a link in the card and in the description box down below. We would love to have you. And with that, I'm going to get going. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you really soon in my next one. Bye, friends.